Okay, this video is part two of basically pre-production preparation, kind of a tutorial for doing script breakdown. And this part is specifically talking about the director of photography and director. Once the script breakdown has been done, this is part two, showing how the director of photography and director to get together and to create a shot list and make sure that there's enough coverage for the scenes. So if you haven't seen part one and you want to go back and look at that, that's concentrating on the first AD's script breakdown process and kind of getting everything scheduled and prepared and getting everything broken down into scene numbers and items that you're going to be needing for the shoot. So yeah, watch this, and then if you have any other questions, you can go back and watch part one if you need to. Also leave any comments that you have, and thanks for watching it. Okay, the next step I want to go into is Directorate of Photography and the director's job in pre-production, getting ready for a shoot. So we have scheduled our entire shoot, and say we've got a couple scenes coming up that we're going to be shooting. Say we've got scenes 3 and 5 that we're going to be shooting, and now the director of photography and the director are going to get together and basically generate a shot list based on the scenes that they're going to be shooting. Let's open up just a simple scene here. We've got this dumb little scene here. Let's say that we're shooting this one scene on a specific day. So we visit the location. And we look at this scene here, and we start coming up with a shot list. So let's show you kind of the director of photography's job to come up with a shot list here. What I'm going to do is open up Photoshop and kind of outline this here. So the DP and the director are going to show up to the location and start figuring out what they're going to do. I've imported this into Photoshop here, the script, so we can kind of demonstrate. They'll have this script printed out. They'll show up to the location, and they'll start figuring out what they're going to do to cover this. And oftentimes this is done with what's called lining the script. So we're going to demonstrate that. Let's create a location here. So I'm going to draw a basic outline of the room here. We've got, sorry for my crappy non-square room here, but we've got the location here. We've got a door over here, and we've got like a strip of desks over here. We've got a strip of desks in the middle. So this is the classroom that we're shooting in here. And then we've got the teacher's desk over here. So on this script here, this little scene here, it says several students sit in a classroom staring lifelessly at their computer monitors. So we're going to start figuring out what we need to get this entire scene done here. Pat enters the room, he steps at the doorway, then he basically struts across the room, stares at some student with their mouths hanging open, still strutting. Pat gives a quick one student in particular, points at that student, giving a dashing wink. Then he stops in front of the teacher's station, gives one last gaze, and then lifts his finger in the air and lets it slowly descend, striking the start key on the keyboard. So that's the entire scene there. Not an awesome scene, but that's the scene there. So what we're going to start doing is figuring out what we need to do to cover this scene. And usually scenes are covered by, in the very least, a master shot. I recommend using a ruler to do this, and grab a pencil, and you sit down and say, okay, what are we going to cover with a master shot here? So I'm going to basically create a start line there, and we're going to draw all the way through this. Sorry for my crooked lines. I need a ruler to do this. So I'm basically going to draw a start line here. So you should be doing this with a pencil and a ruler, and this is basically going to show how much coverage you get for the entire scene. So we're going to go from beginning to end basically, and then we're going to cover that with a master. Sorry, I'm writing with my mouse here, and you're going to kind of take some basic notes on that right there. In the master shot, I'd put some other little notes on here, but we're going to do a master shot to cover this entire thing, and that's going to be a wide angle shot. We're going to position the camera over here in the corner. This is what the DP and director are deciding, and that's going to be kind of this wide angle shot of the entire room. And as Pat walks into the room, as he enters the room here, we're going to see him off in the distance. Then he's going to walk right here. He points at the student, and then he keeps on moving over here and ends up in this spot right here. So the camera here locked off with a wide angle shot. It's basically just going to do a pan following Pat as he walks into the room. That's our master shot. That is the entire scene. This master shot covers the entire scene. Sometimes you have to do 2 or maybe 3 different masters depending on the length of the scene, where you have to move the camera and reset up. But if you do that, then you'll end up doing something like this. Ignore this over here right now, that master shot. But let's say you have to do like 2 master shots to cover this. You say from right there to there works as a master shot, and then we're going to pick up from here, reset up the camera, and go from there to there. So we've got a master shot here and a master shot down here, and we know we've got 2 different master shots, but with this whole scene is covered by a master shot. Let me undo that stuff there. And now you start deciding what other shots you need here to cover. So let's see, several students. We want probably like 3 different shots of students here. So I'm going to say right there, we're going to do inserts, and maybe like 3 inserts. And you can take some more notes on this, and you'll normally do this with a pencil on the actual script page and start taking notes, figuring out what you're going to do. Inserts of students there. And there's another one down here where the students follow them. We could actually add some more inserts right there, and we could probably share these 2 setups, this top one and this bottom one, for the students as they're sitting there staring lifelessly at their computer monitors, and the part where they stare at Pat as he's walking by. So I'm going to write down inserts there. So I've got inserts of the students there. Not great writing, but inserts up here and inserts down here. So now we see there's a portion covered here and portion covered here of students, but we don't have much coverage of Pat yet. And see the camera shots we're going to be doing of the students. There's a student here, student here, student here, all these students sitting in there. We could put these cameras on these reverse angles and get close-ups of them, close-up there, close-up of this student, maybe a student over here, maybe do 3 inserts of different students to cut to for our establishing shots there. But actually our master shot here is also going to be a wide-angled establishing shot as well. Just we could start off with this wide-angle shot, cut to an insert, cut to an insert, and then enters Pat. Something like that. So let's get some more coverage here. Pat enters the room and stops at the doorway, so we're going to get, and actually what we could do, he enters the room, stops in the doorway, we could start like at a low angle. See, this is a DP job, or say let's start at this low angle on his feet as he enters the room. Then we could actually tilt up to reveal his face, and then we could dolly back, and we could cover a whole bunch of different shots there. Point where he points at the student, we could be dollying back. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start with a dolly right here. We're going to be pointing at his feet as he steps into the room. As he stops, we'll tilt up to his face, and he looks around the room, sees the students, and he starts walking, and our dolly will dolly backwards over to this point right here. We'll have a medium angle shot on Pat as he walks in the room. We see him point, and right there when he points at the student, we could have the camera on the dolly, pan over quickly to the student, then pan back to Pat, and finish the dolly move. So there's a whole bunch of shots done in that one shot. We're trying to get as efficient as possible, covering that entire scene. As Pat enters the room, we start on his feet, tilt up to his face, we dolly backwards. He points at the student, we pan over to the student, pan back, and we bring it over here, and he comes to a stop. So all that right there is covered from where he enters the room. And let's see, he points, gives a wink, and he stops and gives one last gaze right to that point right there to where he stops. So we've got all that covered with basically a medium shot of feet. We can put those notes right there as well. Medium shot of the feet, tilt up to the face. But we're going to write this all down on our shot list after we get this coverage figured out. But the first part is to figure out the coverage of the scene here. So let's see what else we could get. There's the one part where he looks at the student. While we're on the dolly here, we could actually do a POV of Pat here. We'll put a POV where he points at the student. We could have his finger like stick into the camera and point as he walks by, and that's our dolly shot right there. So there's our POV. We could actually do this POV of the entire dolly. We could actually cover almost this entire section right there with that POV, and then the hand sticks in and points at the student. Now at the end here, what we're going to do is we're going to move the desk, and we're going to have the camera right here looking kind of low angle up at Pat, medium shot there as he lifts his hand up. So we're going to cover this portion here with a medium shot. This could be a right angle or a perpendicular shot looking directly at him with him in the middle. This is going to be medium shot. I'll put right angle, RA for right angle shot there, which means it's just like he's dead centered, looking out at the class, low angle. And he looks out at the class. And I'm missing a lot of notes here, but with a pencil you can be kind of scribbling in these notes so you remember the shots that you're going to be doing. But now we got the medium shot, and now we're going to get a shot of him lifting the finger. We can do a shot where the camera starts on his hand, close-up. We're going to do an extreme close-up of the hand, extreme close-up of the hand. As the hand, oops, that says hand, as the hand descends down and hits the key, and that's the ending of the scene. So basically here what we've got is we've got a master shot, we've got inserts, 2 sets of inserts, we've got a medium shot on a dolly, we've got a POV on a dolly, we've got a medium shot, locked off shot on a tripod, and we've got an extreme close-up of his hand going down. And now we can look at this and say, okay, we got everything covered with the master, but now all this stuff with Pat when he enters the room, we've got several shots, medium shots, and these are overlapping, so we know we've got coverage there. And if we absolutely have to, we can cut back to our master if we forget something in between. But we've got this entire scene covered. So what we've basically done here is based on the schedule, we look at the upcoming shoot, we find the scene numbers that we're going to shoot that day, we visit the location likely a couple days before, a few days before, and start discussing camera angles. The Director of Photography and the Director are going to start discussing camera angles and lighting placement. And when you're there, you're going to print out the elements that the first AD printed out gave to us. You're going to print those out, show up, and start doing that line script. So the next step here that we went through is create a line script, often done with pencil and ruler, showing coverage for the scenes to be shot that day. Now, next step is, based on the line script, you create a shot list numbering all the shots and adding details to each individual shot. So what I'm going to do here, and this can be just simply done in a word processor like Microsoft Word, and we're going to look at our line script here, and we're going to start taking these shots off and putting them into Word here. I'm going to go into Word. I'm going to go to the first shot here. You can number these, but I'd say don't number them because it's going to be confusing, because if you rearrange those shots, different shots, you might actually rearrange these shots and not shoot them in the order that you're writing down. So I'm going to write down my master here and explain what my master is. Alright, so I've typed in a bunch of description here. The master shot, wide shot angle, camera in the back of the room, students staring, pad enters. We can actually call this like a high angle as well. High angle if we wish. Camera in the back of the room, and the camera pans from left to right. Well, what I'm doing is basically writing all the description of the shot right here. I'm not going to be going over storyboard with this. This can be storyboarded as well to kind of demonstrate where those shots are. But I hit return, and that first shot's written down. So we're going to go to our next shot here. Next shot, we have inserts of students and inserts of students. So we're going to describe this. Okay, so I wrote down these inserts here. 3 shots of students staring at the screen for the beginning, and while we're setting those up, we can just shoot the same students staring at Pat as he walks by. So those will be kind of 2 different takes. They don't have to be different shots. We can make those all in one shot. Sit down and get one student doing it, and doing both looks, and then get 3 of those so we have inserts to cut away from. Next shot, we've got a medium shot. We've got our POV of Pat. So let's get those written down. So there's our medium shot. It starts on his feet entering the room, tilts up to the face. He looks around, starts to strut. He points camera whip hands to the student and back to Pat's face. Dolly back behind desk until he stops. There's the whole description of the shot. So I'm going to continue doing this and write down all the shots that I've got on my line script to this sheet. So let me do that, then I will come back. Okay, so I've got all these shots laid out here. We basically have 1, 2, 3. Well, and these are going to be 3 different shots here. 4, 5, 6, 7, basically 7 or a few more setups with the inserts right there. So here is our shot list right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top, and we're going to call this, say this is scene number 4 we're shooting. I'm going to say scene 4 shot list. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to print it out, and really the only person that has to see this on the day of the shoot is the DP. So during the production, the DP will reference the shot list and determine the best shot to start with. Now, the first shot that is going to be taken, let's go back to our list here and look at these things. Let's say you show up and say, okay, Pat isn't ready yet, but some of the students are, so we don't want to do, Pat is still on makeup. So the character Pat. So we can start doing inserts. The students are there, we can start doing inserts. So we're going to do an insert, 3 different inserts of 3 different students here. We're going to knock out these inserts here. So let's talk about numbering. So we set up and we start shooting a close-up of a student at a screen, just staring at a screen. And as we're doing that shot here, that's going to be the very first shot that is taken. So as we start set up, the DP will show up, reference the shot list, and say, this is the first shot that we're doing right here for the student. So the first shot is going to be numbered as the scene number. So say we are shooting scene number 4. Okay, so if we're shooting scene number 4, the slate is going to be marked as scene 4, take 1, because that's the very first shot. So let's show you a picture of a slate here. So here's our slate. So the way the slate's going to basically look, I'm just going to show the basics. Roll number is going to be the number of digital card that you're using, or it normally comes from the film roll that you're using, the film number. Every roll that you use, every card that you use will have its own unique number. If this is our first shoot, our very first day, this is likely going to be listed as roll number 1. So it's our first roll of film that we're shooting on. But the scene number is 4, and this is actually going to be your shot number right there. This shot number just got numbered as scene 4. That is the shot number there, and we're on the first take, and we're going to shoot as many takes as it takes to get that done. So scene 4, take 1. You can put the director and who the camera operator, the date. This is daytime here, and we are interior. If you're shooting sync sound or MOS, which is without sound, then that's what the slate is going to be listed as, and the name of the production up here. So you can fill the rest of this stuff in, but this is how the slate is numbered. Scene 4, take 1. That gets held in front of the camera, the shot gets marked, and now that shot of that student's face just got numbered as scene 4, take 1. Let's say the student screwed up, and I don't know how you could screw up, but let's just staring at a screen. But let's say he screwed up. If he screws up, then the assistant camera person will erase take 1, and we'll put take 2. And the script supervisor, by the way, is going to be listing every one of these shots and filling out notes on these shots, saying if they're good takes, if they're bad takes, and any description with these shot numbers. They'll say scene 4, take 1. They'll give the basic, this is a close-up of a student staring at the screen, take 1, take 2, take 3, until they finally get it right. Erase this, we'll say take 3. It took 3 takes to get it right. So on the 3rd take, we finally get it right. And we move to the next student. So the next student, and therefore the next shot that we do, is going to be a different number. And the way you start numbering from there is you're going to, so the next shot is going to be, we are still shooting scene 4. So this is still scene 4, but the next shot is going to be marked as 4 alpha. 4 alpha, take 1. We get that shot of a student. Say we get it right on the first time. That's that unique number there for that shot. So the first shot was numbered scene 4. This one is for apple, or for alpha, for A, until we get it right. And then we move on to the next shot. So we have 3 shots we're doing here. So the next shot we shoot is going to be for beta, for B. Take 1, and that's the 3rd shot of the student. So then you can continue doing this, and while we had the exact same setup, we got the shot of the student staring at the screen and the shot of the student gazing at Pat as he walks in. So we took those out in 3 different shots there. Those will be listed down on a script supervisor log as those 3 different shots describing each individual shot. And one thing I should mention here with the slate, this, by the way, during production, this is going to be the assistant camera person's job. Usually the first AC will hold the slate in front of the camera. They will update the numbers here as necessary as they move from shot to shot. If they need to do more takes, if they screw up the take, they'll keep updating the takes. And then once that is complete and they got it successfully, they'll update the scene number and start over with take 1. And that's basically how that goes. And every time the camera, they roll the camera, the first frame that the camera should see will be the slate and showing the number that marks that shot. So every single shot, every single setup will have its own unique scene number and the take number accompanying it until that shot is done. So here's an example of what the script supervisor will be logging here. So we shot scene 4. So over here is going to be scene 4, and this should actually be take up here. So let's pretend like that's take. This will be scene 4, take 1, with the time code, the duration of the shot, and then you're going to put an explanation over here of what that shot was. A close-up of a student insert staring at screen and looking at Pat as he's walking by. So then we can put take 1, take 2, take 3, and then we'll circle the take if it's a good take and explain this one is good. So we've got that shot taken care of. Then scene 4 alpha, 4 bravo, until you get all those shots of the students and listed over here with all the takes. That's what the script supervisor is going to be writing down on this on their script log. And this will go to post-production, and the editors will be able to find those shots for that scene number, and they will be able to grab the shots out that they need in post-production. Those will all be organized and listed on that. So here on this shot list, we basically just got the 3 inserts of the students. So I'm going to cross that out on my piece of paper. The 3 inserts of the students as Pat walks by, and we're going to cross that one out as well. So now let's say, okay, Pat's arrived and we are set up to do the master shot. So this is going to be the very next shot that we do right there. So let's shoot scene 4. So the next shot that we're doing is going to be for Charlie, take 1. And that's going to be our master shot. We shoot that. It's listed on the script supervisor's log, and for however many takes we do. Let's say it takes like 3 takes to do this, so we erase that. We do take 2, then we screw up. We do it again, take 3, and so on. And we repeat this process, numbering each scene and doing as many takes as we need to get each shot done. So 4C, and then the DP will be crossing off these shots as they go, but these do not have to be done in order. It's done in whatever order is more convenient. So let's say we cross that shot off, and then let's say we're set up. Pat needs to take a break, so we do the POV while Pat's gone. Then Pat comes back when we do set up for this while we're on that dolly here. It's most convenient to get this other dolly shot, so we shoot that one. And then we get the medium shot of Pat there. Then Pat can leave, and we get a stand-in to come and do Pat's hand. And Pat can take off and go do rehearsals for the next scene. And then we get the extreme close-up of the start key there. And that's basically the process there. And the DP is really the only one that will see the shot lists, maybe the director, but the DP, he or she will reference the shot list and go through each individual shot, getting the most important shots first if they're running over schedule and they need to start killing some of these shots. So after the takes are updated and until the cast and crew get it right, just to kind of quickly review, once the first shot is finished, the crew will move on to the next shot. The next shot, no matter which shot it is on the shot list, will be numbered with a letter following the scene number. So it goes like this. I should say the first scene was scene 4, and now the next shot will be scene 4 alpha, take 1, scene Bravo, take 1, scene Charlie. If you get all the way through the alphabet, you go back to scene 4A and you do 2 A's. Scene 4AA, scene B, scene 4B, 2Bs, BB, and so on, if you have that many shots in a scene, which is kind of rare, but it happens occasionally. As each shot and take is being performed, the script supervisor will log all the information pertaining to each shot on that script supervisor log. The script supervisor logs will then go to post-production at the end of the day. They'll be photocopied, cataloged, and sent to the post-production crew after they're all done. Let's just show a quick version of the script supervisor log and how that will be filled out. So the script supervisor, after that first shot is done, as we mentioned, the first shot was numbered scene 4. And I'm going to cross this out and say that this is a take here. This is kind of a older form. So that there is going to be take, and this is going to be the scene number or the shot number. So in here, I am going to write down scene number 4 is the first shot. I'm just going to cross that stuff out, and take 1. And then we're going to come over here and say this is a close-up insert of student, and we kind of explain. You can actually take 2 or 3 of these little squares here. Close-up insert of on student staring at the screen, and we can say student number 1 or something like that, because we do 3 different shots of students here. And as he looks up and watches his head pans across, so we can put all that explanation right there. So let's say we've got all that stuff right there explaining it, and then we go down and that shot didn't turn out, so we do a take 2. Put any description on the shot there. The first part was good, the second part was bad. So take 3, we explain this shot is good. The student did everything he was supposed to, so we're going to circle that. Usually you'll circle the take if it's a good take. Or you can circle more than one take if there were good elements, and then you explain over here on the log that there were good elements, and the editors will see that in the notes. The next shot that we did, 4A. So okay, the next one was 4A, which was another insert of a student. So you put that over here and describe that insert. And you basically put all that description there, blah, 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 of the student. And let's say we get that right on the first take. For Bravo, take 1 was the third insert. Oops, I kind of overlapped that line right there. So I'm moving on down here. The next one was for Bravo. Notice I'm not putting them directly underneath because I've used room over here on these steps below it. So I'm going to go for Bravo, take 1, explain this is the third student that we're shooting for an insert. Then as we did our master shot, we went to 4 Charlie, take 1, and we explain over here, this is a master, and then put some description down of the master. We do take 2, take 3, we get it right, and so on. Then we go to the deli shots. This is going to be 4 Delta, and so on. So a couple of numbers that they skip on the slate, by the way, are the letters I and the letter O, the letters I and O, because I looks like what can be mistaken for a 1, and an O can be mistaken for a 0. So those letters are oftentimes skipped on the slate. But that's basically it. And then this log will go off to the editors. These numbers will be filled out if they're doing start and ending time code and the duration of the shot. And then the editors will have all this information to organize things. The assistant editors will organize all the shots and get them synced up and hand them off to the editor. Then if the editor is looking for a close-up of so-and-so or a master shot, they can look up and find there it is right there. And I know that take 3 is a good take because it was circled, but 4C, so I can look up 4 Charlie and find my master shot, and take 3 is the good one. And that is, in a nutshell, how this pre-production process is done, and then once you show up on the day of the shoot, how everything is done, how the first AD gets everything organized with the script breakdown, and basically how that information moves over to the art department, and how the director of photography and director can get together and line a script to get it figured out and figure out the shots that they need to get. And those shots can be moved over to a storyboard as well if you have somebody storyboarding for you. Storyboard's a whole different animal, so I'm not going to be covering that in this tutorial. So if you have any questions, please post them and send me messages, let me know, and hope this made sense. Thank you.